It's a sad day for Uganda, sad in that one of their members or one of their citizens whose key political ally in Uganda was arrested. Or actually, he was abducted in Kenya. And that's none other than Kizza Besigye. He's been the main opposition leader for quite a long time. He's dared President Museveni by running several times when no one else could. He's been punished by that country so many times. And it's so sad that he could be here in Kenya, get arrested in Kenya, and then be jailed in Uganda. And yet we scream here every other day that we are a democracy as Kenya. Uganda is a democracy. You know, all these countries scream out of democracy. But then what does it mean when someone is arrested in a country and then taken to jail? And then the governments, really no one is taking responsibility. Quite a sad affair. So Besigye's wife, Winnie I'm not sure if I pronounce that name proper. It's Nyaminya, wrote on a statement on Twitter, or X as it's commonly called, and said, "I request the government of Uganda to release my husband, Dr. Kizza Besigye, from where he is being held immediately. He was kidnapped last Saturday while he was in Nairobi for where he was attending Honorable Mother Karua's book launch. I am now reliably informed that he's in a military jail in Kampala, and we as his family and his lawyers demand to see him. He's not a soldier, so why is he being held in a military jail?" That's the statement from Winnie, the wife. Besigye, remember, is a fierce critic of Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni, and has on previous occasions, this isn't the first time, he's been arrested, he's been assaulted, like he's gone through the worst of torture under President Museveni. So the Ugandan government has not commented on the latest incident involving Besigye. And not just Ugandan, Kenyan government has actually denied any involvement in the abduction of the Ugandan opposition leader. Imagine a whole country like Kenya has the guts to stand up and say they're not aware that Besigye was arrested in Nairobi. Number one, was he then arrested by Ugandan cops? So do you want to tell us then that our borders are so porous that we can have soldiers or criminals from other countries coming to our own country that we believe is safe and arresting specifically a Ugandan? And how did they know they were here? That means there was intelligence from Uganda. Remember when President Museveni was in Kenya, when they were launching the chairmanship bid for Raila Odinga for AUC, he actually spoke and said that he gets a lot of intelligence information from Kenya. And that involved politics and any other things that are going on. When he even mentioned that he was aware of what Babu Owino is doing in the country with his group and opposition. So it means he was well aware that Besigye was in the country. Whoever organized and made sure the guy could not even get to the book launch that he had traveled to attend, but was arrested before that. So Kenya's Foreign Affairs Permanent Secretary, Korir Sing'oei, says that, that Kenya is not involved in this incident, and his statement reads, "There is no reason whatsoever for Kenya to be party in his arrest, if any." He also denied the country's human rights record as envy-worthy in the region. Imagine the PS of Foreign Affairs saying that Kenya is envy-worthy in terms of human rights when we still have people who've been missing since the Gen Z demonstrations, when people are still being abducted in Kenya, when we lost 60 young people during the demonstrations. Then you speak about an envy of our human rights as Kenyans? Seriously? Anyway, we hope, now that the posts for permanent secretaries have been advertised, we hope something comes up for that, for such a post, because you cannot be the PS saying that when the Inspector General of Police just the other day said that we have about 150 people missing. You won't tell me 150 people can just disappear in the thin air like we have ghosts that work in Kenya? Sing'oei, please. Maybe you need to give us another statement. Remember also the Catholic bishops in Kenya have called out the government for these forced disappearances and abductions. But the PS is here trying to tell us that they don't know who abducted Kizza Besigye in Nairobi. Like, how big is this Nairobi that someone can just disappear and not be, traced, or even the government is not aware? That does not work unless we do not have a functional intelligence, which I think is a lie. So Kenya was recently elected to the United Nations Human Rights Council, And this has sparked criticism from both local and international civil society groups. This is due to the abuse of human rights that have been going on and the poor human rights record that we've been keeping in the recent past. So we got a post, but then again, just a few days, this happened last month, just a few days into the month of October, someone has been abducted, again, in the same country that got a post at the UN human rights space. Again, a few months ago, actually not months, just last month again, 4 Turkish refugees who had been in Kenya and because they had fled Turkey because of their issues with critiquing the government, they were abducted and taken back to their own country where we expect probably they are going to face very harsh times in that country for, critiquing the government. I mean, if you run away to a country as a refugee, political refugee for safety, then that country takes you back to your country. Chances are your survival is based on the mercy. You are at the mercy of whoever feels threatened by your presence. So it's really unfortunate to be having such instances happening in Kenya. The NAC Kenya chairperson and also the lady who was launching her book, that is Martha Karua, has criticized the arrest and has asked both President Museveni and President Ruto to come out clean on the safety and whereabouts of Kizza Besigye. Dr. Besigye was once Museveni's, this is the most interesting, he was once Museveni's personal doctor and is contested to run for the president several times, actually 4 times. He has come up as the runners-up to President Museveni, and he's also the founder of the Opposition Forum for Democratic Change, that's the FDC party. So according to his wife, Besigye disappeared on Saturday 16th November, that's last weekend, and shortly after, reports of Besigye's missing, they went viral online, and so this is after Winnie posted on X, and she did that yesterday evening. Winnie, who's the executive director of UNAIDS and wife to the ex-FDC president, said her husband was kidnapped last Saturday while in Nairobi for Honorable Martha Karua's book launch, that is, and is in a military detention in Kampala. So earlier, media speculated that Besigye had traveled to Nairobi for a meeting with unidentified individuals, with his last known location being in Riverside neighborhood in Nairobi. But the sudden disappearance from now Riverside is where they realized that actually the vocalist Uganda opposition figure was abducted. And you see, Kenya has said that it's not true, they're not involved. So Ingrid Turinawe, a former FDC Women's League leader, has earlier today actually said that they suspect the suspicion of foul play, and they are saying that this kidnap will not leave you in your usual comfort zone. Just be rest assured you must handle him with care and make sure you produce him when he's alive. You know, when people push that you must produce someone when they are alive, it's such a worrying thing that we're so used to abuse of human rights that we would expect someone would be killed. And so that we are sure that we get them alive, we have to push and make noise about it and even insist we need to meet that person when they are alive. So we are hoping that Besigye will survive this abduction, or whatever, if put him in the military jail. I hope they don't harm him. So observers have linked his potential political ambitions, including speculation. The speculations that he wants to make a comeback in the political space in the 2026 presidential elections using the People's Front for Freedom, PFF ticket. So with this, then maybe President Museveni or the government in Uganda is scared or maybe feels threatened, because all this time, all the 4 times he's participated in elections, he came out as the second candidate. So maybe there is fear that during this time, now that Ugandans have been sort of fighting for change, we've even seen Ugandans young people in Uganda who've been pushing for change, who've been arrested because they posted videos on TikTok and they were pushing and saying that they need their freedom, and now they end up being arrested and put in jail. So a few weeks ago, again, I mentioned that Kenya allowed the arrest of 4 Turkish citizens who are repatriated back to their country. So the question now that most of us Kenyans are questioning is Kenya a safe haven for criminals or for refugees? Like, who should we give priority? Are we taking care of criminals, or are we taking care of people who we ought to take care of because they are not safe from their countries, you know, because the United Nations Human Rights grants that if you have a political refugee, you ought to take care of them. But then again, when Sing'oei says that they're not aware and they're not involved, do you want to tell me that we cannot trust that as Kenyans we are safe? Should we trust you with our safety as Kenyans if people can just come and arrest someone and drive all the way to Uganda because it is alleged that he was abducted and then they kidnapped him, abandoned him in a car, drove him all the way to Uganda via the Busia border. So you know, Busia is like 7-8 hours away from Nairobi. So imagine driving all the way, and then you want to tell us we will trust our lives and our safety as a country with you. Are we saying that now things happen in Kenya and we don't know? Like, should we be scared as Kenyans? Should we then get to a point now where we start demanding that then maybe every Kenyan to take care of their own security, because you can't tell us that? So this is not the first time this is happening. It's unfortunate, and Kenyans are basically hoping and praying that the country does better. The people in power and everyone expected to, you know, take care of us in different positions do so, because that's the job you've been given. Also, it is unfortunate that as Kenya, we would be comfortable to be here when someone is being arrested in your country and tortured for reasons unknown. And in a country where we define and, you know, boast of democracy, I think we need to do better. And hopefully Besigye will be released safe and sound. We pray for his safety. And I think it's time the leaders of these two countries accept that time has come, change is inevitable, and democracy must be maintained across. Yeah? Share with us what you think in the comments section, and thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode.